Hello, hello. Good morning. How's it going? Welcome to those of you who are catching the replay. Just wait for people to join. Make sure my audio settings are working. Good morning, Gabby. I should say good afternoon, Gabby. How's it going? Hi, Lori. How are you? You guys having a good morning so far? Hi, David. Nice to see you, bud. How is everyone? What have you guys been up to over the last week? Hi, Michelle. Hi, Megan. Hi, Brandy. Hi, Andy. Hi, Nils. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? I've missed you guys so much. Hi, Ava. Hi, Stephanie. Welcome. How's everyone? David says, doing really good. Looking forward to hearing about the Colorado retreat. It was an eventful retreat. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time. Hi, Ralph. I've missed you too, bud. Nice to see you. Oh, Brandy. Oh, I love you guys. It's so wonderful to be back, even if I'm only here for a day. I was going to come on the podcast yesterday, but I ended up having a 16-hour layover in Chicago that ruffled my feathers a little bit. So I didn't get home until almost 4:30 in the morning, give or take. And yeah, it was a little exhausting on my way back. So that's why I'm on today. I was going to be on for 2 days, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way. Hi, Patrick. Hi, Chandrika. Hi, Katerina. Welcome. Hi, Lynn. Yeah, it was rough. Yeah, don't fly Frontier, guys. I learned that the hard way. Everybody's like, why would you pick Frontier? I did not know any better. I'm used to flying international, not domestic. And so I learned a valuable lesson as to why you're supposed to be more choosy and to look at reviews first. So yeah, that 16 hours, if I had known I would have had all of that 16 hours in the beginning, I would have just walked around Chicago and checked out the place. But every 2 hours, they're like, no, 2 hours, you're good. 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours is what they said. So no, it ended up being 16 hours, not 2 hours. So it put me in a little bit of a mood. And like I said, I was hoping to come on the podcast yesterday, but it didn't work out that way. So at least I get to have time to come on with you guys today. And I have another flight to London tonight. So, but I get to hang out with Jono and Andy and Katie and Stacy and Elise. So I'm very excited about that. That'll be nice. Hang out with some of my SRT crew. But yeah, we had a wonderful time in Chicago. And I see that's how long I was in Chicago. Now I'm saying Chicago rather than Denver. My brain is melted a little bit. Hi, Laura. Laura says, hiding away to watch for a few minutes. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that you also had similar issues with that airline. But yeah, all's well that ends well. I'm just glad that I got my luggage. That was the one thing that made me feel better. The fact that I actually got my luggage, because I wouldn't have had it for London if I hadn't. So I don't even care anymore. It's water under the bridge. I'm just happy it all ended up working out eventually. So, but Denver was amazing. I had so much fun, you guys. It was incredible. I went for my birthday because I like to go and check out a new place for my birthday. I like to go to a new place and try new things. It's kind of like my birthday tradition. So Denver was all new. And there was a lot of exciting things happening around there because, man, you guys, I don't know if it's the fact that mushrooms are legal in Colorado, but there are so many trippy places to check out. We went to Meow Wolf, which was like 5 stories that depict an alien world or something. Like some of it is like post-apocalyptic. And other parts of Meow Wolf are like these, I don't know, it looks like a fairy realm or something. I was completely sober walking through there, but I felt like I wasn't just going through there. If you guys Google it, you'll see what I mean when you Google Meow Wolf in Denver. It is a crazy place. But it was exciting. Got to check it out. I did get, I got a tattoo, my first tattoo. So that was also exciting. I got myself a Triskelion on my back. So I have it as my protection symbol. When Chen told me that it's a protection symbol, I'm like, yay. So now I have a Triskelion on my back, which is pretty cool. It only hurt a little bit in the first 5 minutes until it went numb, and then it doesn't hurt anymore. Anybody else have any cool spiritual tattoos? If you do, you can share them in the comments, and I'll look later. I was looking for something that would express my dedication to my new craft. And so, yeah. I don't know. If you guys want to see it, here, I'll turn it around. Can you see? Can you see it? There you go. It's mostly healed up now. Can you guys see? I can't see it. I don't get to enjoy it as much as everybody else does. I'll be walking around with a mirror going, ah. So I'm really excited about it, though, because my mom was really mad at me, though. She did not appreciate the fact that I got a tattoo. My mom was livid. That was the fact that I got a tattoo. I'm like, Mom, I'm 39 years old. I can make these choices now. Thank you. So, but it was a lot of fun. And I had a wonderful drive up to Winter Park, which was the switchbacks on the mountain were pretty crazy going up the mountain. But that was a lot of fun. I'm not used to being in the mountains as much as I have to say we have Appalachian mountains here, but they're not as big as the ones that you guys have in Denver area. So I should say in Colorado. It's massive. So that was definitely a new experience for me. Hi, Kara. Nice to see you, love. How is everyone feeling after the retreat? I'm actually curious. How are you feeling, Kara? I miss you guys already. We had so much fun. We were all saying that, 3 days together was not enough. We need a week next time. Because it felt like we were that's one of the reasons why we didn't go online is we basically were just having so much fun hanging out together and just chit-chatting and whatever that we barely even spent any time on our phones whatsoever. So, which is nice. It's really good to unplug and just spend time with people for a few days. So that was really lovely. Erin is incredible, just for the record. Holy shit. Erin is a force to be reckoned with. She is such a powerful priestess. I'm kind of in awe of what we experienced with Erin Suniva McHugh because wow, she is just incredible. The abilities that she has, the way that she leads the group. There were 13 of us, which is kind of perfect for a coven, which I kind of laughed about, including Mr. Bradley, who was also with us. We giggled because we only had one man at the retreat. Mr. Bradley Bay came with us as well. And we just joked. He was our masculine energy for the weekend. But we had so much fun. It really was just an incredible time. The coolest moment was definitely the dragon duel, which I'm sure every single one of you will agree, right? And you guys are like, what? Dragon duel? It was like being in Hogwarts, but not. It was the weirdest thing. So where do I even start explaining this, you guys? So we were talking about dragons. And my friend Candy, that you guys probably know through the comments, she's also SRT trained. Very happy that Candy was able to come with us. And Candy has a dragon that she has on her spirit team. And so does Erin. And the funny thing is, we decided, well, what would happen if we put the two dragons against each other just to have like a little duel kind of thing. It was wild. Like Candy went into a trance and started moving like a dragon. And it was really funny because they were like they were cloaking themselves too. So Candy was coming down and like hiding herself like a dragon. She had her wings down like this. And Erin's like, I can't see her. And I was like trying to visualize her in the astral and couldn't because she was like cloaked by her dragon. And then it was really just funny. It was the funniest thing because the way that they were you had to be there. Are you going to say how she got in? Yeah. Well, okay. It's kind of funny because there's certain parts of yourself that you may not recognize as vulnerable. And so Aaron found that vulnerable spot within a second. It was very cool, though. Oh man, I don't even know how to describe it because they both just started, channeling massive amounts of energy, and everybody in the room could feel it. And when they started talking about dragons, like, acting as their dragons, we actually heard movement on the roof, like lots of movement on the roof. And we're all looking up, like, what? Is that really a dragon up there? So it was something else. In fact, like they were both like trying to like hold this dragon energy within themselves, and you could see like Erin looked like she got taller. Like it was the craziest thing. Everybody in the whole group was just like, oh, like didn't know what to say. It was amazing. So, I mean, we just spent so much time practicing different techniques, different exercises. One of my favorites was definitely the talk we gave about astral projection and what is it called? Remote viewing. My brain doesn't want to work today. Lynn says you were sober. Yes, we were. I might have had a little wake and bake during the weekend, but yeah, for the most part. The sound bath was incredible. Yes, the sound bath was really amazing. Erin's friends came and lit a sound bath, and it put me into a trance almost immediately. And I know I was in a trance because I started snoring again. I don't snore unless I'm in trance. It's so annoying. Like, this is how I know the difference between normal sleep and trance. I'm like, so that was funny. Really incredible sound bath, though. And the instruments were just amazing. They had all of them, including like a didgeridoo, just gongs, you name it, singing bowls. It was really cool. But one of the cool things that also happened was the remote viewing exercise that we did, because I wrote on a piece of paper, I wrote a number and a symbol on the paper, and it was a 3-digit number. And I was like, let's see if they can get it right, because I didn't want to put down a 2-digit in case they could guess it. So I wrote down a 3-digit number and I put in a symbol. And it was funny. The number was 474. And the symbol, I was originally going to use a pyramid. But I was like, no, that's too easy. And then I saw like an eye. And I was like, oh, third eye. Okay, that'll work. So I put the third eye. I drew like an eye on there. And then I put it in the other room. And I folded up the paper. And I snuck it out there before nobody knew what I was doing. So I led the astral projection little discussion group. And then we practiced some remote viewing techniques that I had learned. And Kara, very well done at that, by the way. Kara immediately, she went into her astral form, which is really cool. And you do that when you notice you just don't remember what happens next. When you like kind of check out and you're just like, what? And you come back and you're like, what just happened? Yeah, that's when you kind of check out and you switch your perception. But what was also really cool is that one of the girls actually got the number and the symbol both correct. She actually said 479, but my 4 at the end looked more like a 9. I went and looked at it and I was like, oh my God, I should have driven that better, because she said 479, but then she's like 474. And I was like, yeah, that's the number. So she also guessed the symbol correctly, which was really cool. 3 other people guessed the symbol correctly, which was really cool. So yeah, it does take some practice with remote viewing, but to have that much success in such a short period of time was really neat. I'll be teaching a remote viewing class in the next couple weeks. I may do one more astral projection class before that, so that way there's some people that want to be refreshed, because you do need to take my astral projection course before the remote viewing one, because I'm not going to be covering the protections and as much as I did in the first one. So that's all stuff you need to know from the beginning. So I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm leaving out. It was just a really fun weekend. We made food together. We sang and danced together. We just went for walks and had adventures, and it was wonderful. Laura ended up digging up a whole bunch of rock quartz. So it was just, yeah, we had a really great time, and I'm excited about the next one. We're planning the next one to be on water, so we're going to do another retreat probably somewhere on the beach or somewhere on a lake or something, so that way we can have more time around water. That was the only thing we were really kind of missing at the retreat. Garrett says, wonderful, as long as I don't slip into a trance and miss it. It's hard to remember things because you don't download it. So a lot of people wonder why they don't remember things when they astral project. Well, you're not in your body when you're astral projecting. You're experiencing from your astral perspective, from your astral body. And so if you want to download those memories to your actual brain, your physical part of your nature, then you have to do that through intention. You have to do it through journaling. There's a whole lot of practice that comes into actually downloading what you experience when you're out of body. So yeah. Any questions or anything that you guys want to discuss? Anything going on over the last week that I've been away? I was going to try and come on the podcast, but like I said, it was just crazy busy. It was really nice to unplug for a few days, not going to lie. Not being on my phone all the time was great. Did not miss being on my phone all the time, not even a little bit. So what have you guys been up to? When do I come home from the UK? Wednesday of next week, I'll be back. I land Tuesday night, I believe. So I should be back next Wednesday for my normal schedule, and we'll get some people scheduled up. I haven't even planned any guests for next week. Daniela has been handling all of it. She's just amazing. Thank you so much, by the way, Daniela, for all of your help and for holding down the fort while I was indisposed. Daniela's amazing. She's a natural. She really is. Kath just got back from Glastonbury. Nice. Wonderful. What did you do there? It's getting to be crop circle season. I'm excited. I want to go back and check out some more crop circles this year. I studied crop circles for 6 months in the UK once, and there was all kinds of really cool things that happened down there. Glastonbury gets loads of them. Oh, you are here, Daniela. Hello, love. Love you, Ray. I'm gonna have to rewatch. I'm actually gonna go through and download a whole bunch of Daniela's podcasts over the last week from YouTube, and then just watch them on the plane tonight. That was my plan to catch up, because it's gonna be a 10-hour flight, I think, tonight. Chilled and soaked up the vibe. It truly is my happy place. Oh, that's lovely. Very cool. I did not get a chance to do many clearings over the last week, so I am a little bit getting behind here with clearings. But we have, I was doing a bunch with Katie this morning, so we are catching up. And all kinds of exciting things have been happening with clearings. We've got new students that have just finished last week. I have heard some of the new students are really, really exceptional already, so I'm excited to work with them. So that'll be fun. A couple of them are being messed with by Lizzie's already, but that's normal. That'll go away in a couple weeks, I'm sure, as it did for us. I really do feel that, once your vibration gets up to like a certain point, you become untouchable. That's what's happened to me. Most of my psychic attacks have finished. They did get me at the airport, though. They got me on the way out. I'll tell you, though, it was funny. It wasn't actually funny at the time. It's funny now. I went through security and I put my hands up and all that. And they flagged something down my pants. And I was like, I don't have anything down there. And they're like, well, we're going to check anyway. And I was like, don't you think this is a little invasive? And they're like, well, if you don't like it, you can do it privately. And I'm like, doing it privately doesn't make me feel any safer, just for the record. Like, I feel really uncomfortable. And so security was like, nope, we're going to molest you. Basically, they stuck their hand right down my pants in public. And I called them molesters. It just came out. I don't know why I said that. I was like, whatever, molesters, just do what you got to do. They called security over and had an absolute field day about the fact that I used that word. They flipped out. I was like, well, if you don't want to be called molesters, then don't go sticking your hand down people's pants. And they're like, this is a job. This is national security, blah, blah, blah. And I asked them, I was like, how many times have you found anything in a vagina that could cause an actual, explosion? And then they flipped out even more because I said the word explosion. So, it was eventful. The guy behind me also had his crotch flagged, and I asked him, I was like, what? Are you okay with this? And he goes, better a pat down than a plain down, is what he said. And I just rolled my eyes at him like, I have no filter, as you guys might have noticed. It just comes out. My thoughts come out of my mouth without me planning it. So yeah, they didn't appreciate me calling them molesters. Like I said, they called security over on me and everything. They were very angry with me for calling them that. So this was on my way to Denver too. This was not before my 16-hour layover. But sure enough, they triggered me emotionally, and I felt it. I felt that double heartbeat hit. So I texted Katie, and I was like, can you just check me really quick? I said, TSA just stressed me out. And I felt immediately going through TSA as I was getting anxious and annoyed at their attitude. I felt it hit me. And sure enough, yep, they got me. So it just goes to show the entities always use an emotional bridge to attach to you. And if somebody doesn't trigger you emotionally, then they can't jump. But they did. They triggered me emotionally when they called security over. And sure enough, yep, I felt it. So you got to keep your vibration high. If the vibration is high, then in most cases you should be fine. It's when you get kicked in the ass by the universe that you're just like, damn, okay, now I need a clearing again. But this is important for the new students to learn as well, because it can be quite stressful in the beginning when they are trying to stop us from doing this work. As we have noticed that they do kind of try to mess with people a little. But I feel that does go away eventually, because things have been great recently when it comes to doing clearings and all of that. So, but they are getting very smart too. They a lot of them, we've have noticed some of the threes, we're finding more residual energy of threes than actual threes lately, because the stinkers know when the clearing is coming and they leave. So what I have been doing actually is going back whenever I've noticed a level 3 has left, I put their name on the list for rechecks. So I actually have caught 2 of the stinky buggers that way. Because they think, oh, the clearing's done, I can go back. And sure enough, they go back, and that's when we catch them. So it is nice to have new techniques that actually are working, because we do have to be kept on our toes with this work. They're getting smarter, just like we are. So, oh, thanks, guys. So many positive comments. Love you all. Kara says, definitely a big takeaway from our time together, the importance of keeping that vibration high. Yes, without a doubt. Most important thing. And whenever you feel your vibration might be going down, that's the time to refill your cup. Just take a breather, go outside, sit under a tree, whatever you got to do to kind of ground yourself and to kind of work through those emotions that they use as triggers. Because this is what they do. You meet somebody. Let's, for example, say you're walking down the road and somebody just starts an argument with you out of nowhere. And I had a visual of this the other day. You ever watch that movie Venom? You guys know about Venom? You know how he does that thing where he's just kind of, he like comes out and he's like talking to him and he's like having a conversation with them and he kind of jumps out at people? That's kind of what entities do. It's like they use the person they're attached to trigger you. And then they can snack off of you. So this is why it's important that if anybody tries to mess with you, even if it's just somebody randomly on the street, somebody that tries to start a fight with you or somebody that just gets rude for no reason, if you get emotionally triggered by that person, they can jump to you from them. So it is very important to, one, keep your vibration high, yes, but to not let other people affect your vibration. I know it's hard, especially when you get people who are really, really rude, argumentative, and just not very nice. But this is what they do, though. They use those people to trigger you. And if you get triggered by them, then they can attach to you, establish cords, sap your energy, that sort of thing. So one of the most important things you can do is just protect your vibration. Just to, listen to some positive music, smudge yourself. I have like these sprays that I've been using. This is a Blue Lotus spray that I really like. Whenever I'm feeling stressed, it feels very uplifting. So there's different ways you can do it. I've been making my own sage sprays recently. Before I left sage and a few other things kind of sitting in some water. And when I came back, there was all the water changed colors and it smells amazing now. So then you just put it in one of these spray bottles and you can take it to London for a week and spray down your hotel with it. So you don't have to worry about entities in your hotel room, and you can't smudge hotel rooms because they'll come running in all pissed off at you. So yeah, it's good to bring essential oils and that sort of thing with you when you guys are traveling. So that way you can kind of remove all the negativity from the space. But I think it'll actually be more fun. We might just end up clearing the whole hotel. Because if you have 3 groups of spirit release people staying in the same hotel, we may as well just clear the whole thing, shall we? I think that's what we're going to do when we have some spare time, too, is to go on ghost hunts and then de-haunt the ghosts from there. I wonder how pissed off they would be if we just went to the Tower of London and opened a gateway and let all the ghosts leave. I bet the royals wouldn't appreciate that much, which makes me want to do it more. I think I'm actually going to see if we can do that. Because I've heard before they didn't appreciate it. Apparently there was a ghost at Edinburgh Castle, a drummer boy that was missing his head. And some medium, I forget who I heard this from, but some medium went in there and cleared the drummer boy, sent the drummer boy back to source, up to heaven, or wherever you want to call it. And so the place lost the creepy vibe, you know. People went in there and they're like, but I don't feel anything now, you know. And so they all got pissed off about it. They're like, I'm pretty sure that medium actually got a lot of shit from the crown, actually, for going and removing the ghost from the castle itself. So let's do more of that, actually. I'm down for that. Send them to the light. Raise the vibe of the space. But ghost tours are terrible, though, if you think about it. Just bringing fearful people into a place where there's entities and ghosts. Like, you're ringing the dinner bell, quite literally. So... Hi, Erica. Nice to see you, love. Look at them as yourself at that age. What were you missing? What was on your mind at their age? I did this with my little one. It helped me. Hope that helps. That's beautiful of you to say, Erica. Ray says, I posted a Bashar video today that our vibe will go up and down, but every time we go up, we rise higher and higher. Even our downs will raise higher. That is very true. I see that 100%, without a doubt. I have also noticed that our abilities get heightened without realizing it, too. I don't know why I was expecting this, but I just kind of expected that one day I would just feel activated, I guess, in a way, where I'll be like, oh my God, I can hear something. Oh, I can see something. Like, oh, okay, it's back. Yay. It's kind of what I was expecting. But the other day I was doing a clearing. I don't know if I told you guys this, maybe before I left. I can't remember. But just on my birthday, ironically, I was doing clearings. And I asked, I said a client's name. And sure enough, as soon as I said the client's name, I heard ringing in my ears really loud. And it felt like somebody had placed a tin can over my head. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like, make it stop. And the soul guide was like, actually, Laura, you may be tuning into the client. And I said, why? And it was because they have a metal helmet over their head in the astral that is causing very loud ringing in their ears. And I was like, oh my God, really? That's exactly what's happening. I was like, can you remove it? And as soon as they removed the helmet, my ringing in my ears went away. And I was like, holy shit. So I think the ringing in the client's ears stopped at the same time, which was crazy. So I said to them, I was like, does that mean I'm tuning into the client? And they're like, yeah, you are. You need to be careful. And I was like, damn, okay, so I am tuning into people and picking up stuff now. Okay, good to know. So, yeah, they were like, okay, yeah, you need to be careful. You are tuning into people. And if you're, as most healers know, if you're turning into people who need some energetic work, you can end up, you know, having entities jump to you and all kinds of stuff. So you need to be careful about tuning into people. And so when I heard this, I was like, oh, damn. I really do need to be mindful of where I'm sending my energy and picking things up. But it was really cool to know that my abilities are heightening. It was a gift from the universe, really, to know on my birthday that my gifts are slowly dialing up. It's kind of like tuning a radio, and the radio is just finally being tuned, and you're starting to hear like actual words coming through rather than just static. That's where I'm at now. Because a lot of my thoughts, like I was doing clearings yesterday with Ruth and King, her soul guide King, who's awesome. He's so much fun to work with. And King was actually saying, like, what are you picking up first? Because I started saying things like, oh, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing plates under her feet. And he's like, yes, she does have plates under her feet. I was like, yeah, I got them. So it is nice to know that I am being dialed up slowly, that it's not an instantaneous thing, which I should have known it wouldn't be instantaneous. I should have known that you're not just going to wake up one day with, new gifts and abilities, that you have to work on those things slowly and develop them slowly. And one of the really cool things, one of the exercises that Erin did at the retreat was it's like tuning into each other and blocking psychically other people, which I did not know I could do. Thank you, Erin, for that. That was a lot of fun. Because, for example, in the exercise, which was really funny, by the way, we were put into pairs and we would try and connect with each other. First, we would block them from being able to come through. And then this is how we got into the dragon duel, by the way, was because Erin and Candy, when they were doing their dragon duel, this is why they were using their guides for this technique. They were learning how to block people psychically, which is really cool. But yeah, it does take practice. But you could actually feel when somebody was coming into your mind, which is the craziest thing. When people are doing it naturally in the street, you aren't really focusing on it. You don't really notice what that feeling is. But when somebody psychically tunes into you and starts like putting themselves in your auric field, you can perceive so much. You can actually feel when somebody is like moving in on your mind. And then she taught us how to push them back out again. And Candy was using her dragon to do this, by the way. So this is why she was like, all right, let's put your dragon against my dragon and see who can handle who. Which was really funny because, like I said, you can actually use your guides as part of your protection. So Candy called in her guide to cloak her in the astral, and it worked. She was trying to be tuned into, and sure enough, they couldn't find her. And they were like, where's Candy? No, Candy was cloaked by her dragon in the astral, so she couldn't even tune in telepathically. So she was like, what is happening? So one of the major things I learned at this retreat in Denver was definitely the fact that we are all telepathic. We are all mediums. It's just that some of us are not, we just don't know how to use our gifts. Kara says, not only could we feel it, but we could see it. So powerful. Yep. It really was. It was so much fun. Leanne says, I'm learning how to distinguish what feelings are mine and what emotions belong to someone else. That is a major one to learn. It really is. It's probably one of the biggest and best lessons that you can learn because, like we've said before, about 50% of your thoughts and feelings are being picked up from other people, especially if you're out in public or if you're around other people in your family. We were using our dowsing rods quite a bit to measure each other's etheric fields. We were kind of playing around with dowsing rods. And we were showing people how big their etheric fields are because some of the etherics can be up to 20 feet around you, depending on whether or not you're, expressing love, which was kind of cool. We were doing little tests with it. For example, I had Kayla, she was standing there and I said, okay, I'm going to measure your etheric. And it was only about 6 or 8 feet. But then I was like, okay, and I'm going to stand across the room and I want you to project love at me. And she's like, okay. And the dowsing rods went because her etheric field grew by another like 6 to 8 feet at least. So that was really cool. But you don't realize how many people, like if you're standing in a crowd shoulder to shoulder, that's going to be 20 people in your etheric field right there, if not more. So if you're in a concert, just imagine how many people are actually in your bubble of energy when you're standing in a group like that. I mean, you could even have 50 people in your etheric field, and all of those people are feeling your vibe to some degree, some stronger than others, depending on how empathic they are. But how you're feeling is being felt by the people around you. And so this is why people like myself have social anxiety, have a hard time in crowds, because crowds, you can feel all of that energy around you, and it can be very overwhelming for people. So as empaths, this is one of the things to be aware of, because you don't realize how much you absorb from others when you're in your space. Yeah, Leanne says it can be overwhelming and can make me feel sick. A lot of times these sick, the tummy feeling we have, it almost feels like you're on a roller coaster, your tummy is doing this. That is what happens when you have an energetic change. Like, let's say that somebody comes in your frequency that's very low vibe, and they come into your bubble and you've got a very high vibe. Well, the dominating frequency will change all frequencies around it. Think of it this way, right? Let's say you have a group of 50 people, everybody's really happy, they're all laughing, having a great time, but then some drunk person walks in and they start being obnoxious, they start being rude, they start throwing insults around. That is the dominant frequency that just came into the space because you guys allowed that frequency to dominate, right? So if the group of people just say, "Hey, get that asshole out of here," and they push him out, and they don't let it affect them, then they hold the dominant frequency. Do you get it? But if somebody comes in and they're a complete asshole and all the other people are just like, "Oh my God, why does he always do this?" But they don't stop him, they don't set boundaries, then that man that came in was the dominant frequency, and it shifts the other frequencies around it to his frequency, if you know what I mean. So this is why we're here to hold the space, quite literally. Somebody comes into your space being negative, you have to transmute that energy. Otherwise, that energy will drag you down into their frequency. You guys ever hear them say, like, don't let them drag you down to their level? Quite literally, that is true for energetics. So, very important to make sure that you aren't allowing other people to shift your vibe, because they will try, especially if they have those attachments. Think of Venom, that little beastie coming in and snapping at people, and you wonder why people snap sometimes. Well, that entity that's attached to them is looking for food. And so they will use their attachment, the person that they're attached to, as kind of their dinner bell ringer, if you know what I mean. Megan says, how do you transmute in the moment? You have to be aware, first of all. So if somebody comes into your space and they're being an asshole, that is a huge red flag right there that there's an energetic bully around, I guess is the best way of putting it. And so for you, you just have to be aware. If somebody comes into your space that makes you feel sick, somebody that affects you and your tummy, this is another thing too. A lot of people look for butterflies, right? People are asking about butterflies. I had an ex that I told you guys about that I broke up with last year. When I first met him, I had huge butterflies in my stomach, and I thought it was a good thing. I'm like, oh, look, I'm getting butterflies. That's so nice, blah, blah, blah. No, those butterflies were a red flag, actually, that he was drastically lower in vibration than myself. Because whenever, and this is something we've noticed too when taking mushrooms or any other energetic work, that when you have a quick shift in frequency, whether you're going up very fast in frequency or whether or not you're going down very fast in frequency, you're going to notice nausea. That's the most common physical symptom of having a frequency change, is nausea. And so we think that those are butterflies, and we're like, oh, blah, 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 this is really nice. That is a huge red flag, actually. You're supposed to feel calm. You're supposed to feel at peace when somebody is in your vibration. Because otherwise, yes, exactly, Ray, you're getting snacked on. So whenever you have some huge bout of nausea, that's probably something in your vicinity that is causing you to either drastically raise in vibration or decrease in vibration. So just be aware of that. This is one of the reasons why nausea is so prevalent when taking psychedelics, guys, because the psychedelics increase your frequency so rapidly that your body is just like, oh my God, too much all at once. So, yeah. Find your neutral in your heart space and keep sending out your love straight at it. Well said. So, I think I missed a couple questions here. I've even had strangers come up to me in stores to talk about their problems. Yep, that's why. That is exactly why. Just keep in mind, though, that this is something that Dolores used to talk about quite a bit, is the fact that most people are walking around with an empty cup, if you know what I mean. People are so drained energetically. They're drained by their families. They're drained by the work they do. They're drained by the entities that get attached to them or the earthbounds that are attached. People are just, we're constantly being treated like batteries that are being sapped all the time. We're sapped by other people. And so it's very important to protect your energy. Whenever you go out into a crowd, you can lock down your chakras and make sure, for example, right? Let's say you're going out to the mall and it's a busy day. And so you are going out, you can lock down your own frequency. Most people do this through bubbles of light and protection. They do work. But the best way to do it is just to, I like the mirror approach where you put a mirrored bubble around yourself. Because if anybody's going to try and attach a cord to you or try to attach you energetically, it's just going to bounce off of that mirror. But it's also important to recognize when people are doing that, when they're quite literally fishing for energy and for cords. So if somebody comes to you that is emo dumping on you, it's important to set boundaries. It's okay to hold space, but just know that when you're holding space, you try and shut down emotionally. I shouldn't say shut down emotionally, but you know what I mean? You have to build a wall. Somebody's going to come to you and be like, my life sucks. Everything is terrible. Everything's falling apart. And it's easy for an empath to feel that from somebody and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I want to help you. What can I do? Blah, blah, blah. But especially because many of us are here to help. We're here to come in as kind of, as backup for many of these souls that have been stuck here for so long, kind of in the spiritual mud. But don't get consumed by their troubles. Exactly, Ariana. We have to set a boundary with ourselves and how we feel about these certain things, because you can be spent very, very quickly. I was like that. I had this like white knight complex back in the day. It especially started, I think, when I was in the fire department at 16. I was always the type of person to everybody be running away and I'd be running in, That was my attitude, is I was just here to help everybody. And eventually I got drained down to absolutely nothing. And rather than being a people pleaser, I ended up hating people for the longest time because I was so burned out by them. And I love people again, but now I'm actually being very careful as to know line limits. Knowing your limits is a huge thing. Especially mothers, for example. Somebody I did a clearing on over the weekend had almost 70% soul fragmentation. 70% of herself has been given away. And we called all of that energy back to her. But funnily enough, we asked, like, where did all of that go? And she had like 7 children. So she gave like 10%, I think, to each one or something. I don't know. But it was a lot. Can you imagine losing 70% of your core self and giving it away to others? And how much of yourself that you're not going to feel like yourself, because there's other people that are literally have pieces of you that they're just kind of discarded or whatever. So when you call that back, yes, she says, how do children fragment our soul? Because we give too much of ourselves. Yep, 100%. We've got to refill the cup, because many of us, especially as mothers, we tend to give until the cup is completely bone dry, if you know what I mean. And that's what this mother was dealing with. She's given up so much of herself that, yeah, she quite literally has 30% of her core self. I should say had, because we brought all of it back. But if you think about it, how much of your core self have you guys given to other people? Given to exes, given to children, given to people that are just people that don't deserve to have those pieces of you, if you know what I mean. I was thinking I had a narcissist in my head. There's a lot of those out there these days, especially for empaths. And the empaths, they get drained by narcissists a lot. This is why it's such a common subject, because this is where, this is what they do. They collect those soul fragments from people. That's a big one. If you've ever had a narcissistic relationship, you definitely gave some of yourself away to that narcissist. But this is why, soul retrieval exercises are so important, because you end up feeling more of yourself once you have those pieces back. Mothers need to realize we come through you, not from you. Interesting perspective, Ray. Love it. We all come from source, if you want to be technical about it. So we all kind of come from the same energy. It's just what we choose to do with that energy that's when things get interesting. Because you can totally give that energy away to others. People do it all the time. Miriam says, my supervisor is narcissistic. That happens quite frequently, frequency, that's funny, happens a lot because they do love the power that they are given. Ooh, nice one, Kale. That'd be wonderful. Kale says, I've learned different lessons of keeping boundaries up. It's easier, less complicated. Animals are easier to work with. Yes, they are. Yes. Animals respect boundaries a lot more than humans do. Just look at bears as a great example of respecting boundaries. Just be bigger than me and I'll respect all that space. Jessica says, oof, I had a dream last night with 2 of my ex-narcissists and I realized I didn't want to give them my time or anything to do with them. What an empowering dream you had. Wonderful. It's funny how the messages come through when we need them, right? Because there's so many messages that come through in your dreams. Have you guys had any interesting dreams lately? Krista says, I'm dealing with 2 narcissistic people right now. It's so rough and I'm really trying, but it's draining. Any pointers on protecting myself from these people? They're both family members. The gray rock method. If you've ever known about the gray rock method, if not, Google it. Gray rock is a wonderful method for dealing with narcissists. It basically, it all boils down to not giving them their food because there's certain things that they feed off of, like information, emotional responses, certain triggers, that sort of thing. And so, yeah, there's lots of ways that you get down using the gray rock method, which is just giving them nothing. There's certain things they're looking for. And when you learn what those things are, you can deny them those things, most of which are involving attention and just responses. A lot of times they act the way they act just because they're trying to trigger us and get a response. So when you're aware of that and you start, actually stopping them from being able to use it, and I just got really loud ringing in my left ear. Wonder what that's all about. Interesting. Can you request clearings for family members who no longer live with you? Absolutely. You can request a clearing for anyone. Let's say that there's a homeless person down the street and you only know his first name. Send me a message. I'll add him to the pro bono list and I'll clear him for free. If there's anybody in your family that you would like to know what is happening and why they are behaving the way they do, we can do clearings on them. I have gotten 2 no's out of the probably 200 cases I've done since I started doing SRT. I've gotten a no twice. Ironically, I got a no last week for somebody, and that person, I will be letting them know that I got a no from them because their higher self said, no, you can't clear them yet. There's still a lesson that must be learned here. And I was like, what the hell? Because I'm like, it's frustrating when you can't clear somebody because there's a lesson in it. But this is very rare, actually. Like I said, it's only happened twice. So for most cases, they're just trying to, just sort out all of these energetic issues. And so the soul guides are actually really happy for the clearing to happen. So very rarely do they actually say no. And we always get the higher self's permission and the permission of the soul guides. So whether or not the ego wants it is another story. In fact, there was somebody who a few months ago scheduled a clearing for their partner, and their partner found out about it and was extremely angry about it because they messaged me and was like, don't you dare clear me. And I was like, okay, I'll reimburse you. I cleared them anyway. And I found out that they had imposter soul guides. How's that? So they messaged me flipping out saying, don't you dare clear me. And I'm like, why? So I reimbursed them. And then sure enough, I checked and they did not have their free will at all. In fact, they had imposter soul guides too. And so this is what I mean. Like, some people are going to be very adamant and very angry and say, don't you dare try and clear me. Is it them talking? No. That was definitely the imposter soul guides or their attachments that were freaking out because they didn't want to be removed. So even if you do have somebody that's like, don't you dare, though, that actually makes me wonder more. Because I'm like, because clearings are always for the highest good. It's kind of like if you see somebody that's completely covered in mud and you're like, would you like to take a bath? And they're like, no, don't you dare give me a bath. And you're like, but you really need one. And they're like, no, don't you touch me. It's really actually helpful for them to just kind of, dump a bucket over their head sometimes if you have to. Because some people, they don't have the ability to help themselves, especially when their attachments have been attached for so long and they've gotten so deeply rooted in their subconscious. So as long as we have the permission of the higher self and the soul guides, then yeah, we do the clearing. Because the ego, like I said, the ego does not know what it needs. In many cases, the ego is against what it needs. So this is why it's important to speak with the soul guides and to find out what's actually going on. How important is it for those you book an SRT appointment for to know the ins and outs, especially because they won't protect your energy after? That's a good point. So if we do a clearing on somebody who is not ready for the clearing because they haven't learned the lesson yet, then they're just going to pick up new attachments anyway, unfortunately. This is why the aftercare advice is so important, and why every single time, even if you're just doing a quick clearing, I at least ask the soul guides, is there any aftercare advice for the client? Because there's always something that you're doing that is going to attract entities. That's why you have them in the first place. Usually it's because you're either, thinking negatively. That's a big one. Probably the biggest. If you're having negative thoughts, you're opening the door to attachments. If you already have negative thoughts and you cannot control those negative thoughts, it may be the attachment that's giving you those negative thoughts in the first place. What is the process of asking you for a clearing for a family member? If you know somebody who desperately needs a clearing, and you do not need a report from this person, you just want to see if we can help them, you can send me their name, and Gabby and I will put them on the pro bono clearing list. So all we need is a first name. The soul guides, your name, especially your birth name, carries a certain vibration to it. And it has certain intentions as well. So really, even if you have as common a name as, I don't know, Joe Brown, you can still end up being found in the astral by the soul guides, because everything is linked. We're all connected energetically. So even if there's a million Joe Browns on the planet, they can actually go in and find the right one to clear that person. So really, it all just sets down to intention. And whether or not that person is receptive to the clearing. And no, we don't share names publicly. So you'd have to private message me with the name. And like I said, I'm happy to do it. We just don't do the reports that way, because there are ways of doing group clearings. What we do is we put everybody into a bubble. We can say like 10 names at once. We put everybody's name into this big bubble. We can basically put everybody into a bubble at once and then clear the bubble like that. We go through the whole protocol with everybody in the same bubble. So everybody that's in the bubble gets cleared, if you know what I mean. So that's how we can actually clear 10, 20 people in one go on a Wednesday when we do our mediumship meetup with Andy and Jono. Because every Wednesday we have our SRT meeting. So this is when we are going to be doing like group clearings, like I say, where we put everybody's name into a bubble. That's why you don't get an actual report for the pro bono ones, because we're not going to write down each person individually. That's how long it just takes longer. But we can clear like almost an entire auditorium worth of people in one go by doing that bubble trick. So the soul guys, they're getting very clever. We say that the dark side's smarting up, but so are we. And so it's nice that we don't actually, in fact, I may do this. I didn't think about that. I actually may ask Christopher to change that on my website where I could do a family clearing that way for less. So if you guys don't really care to know, for example, what was attached to who, and you just want a mass clearing for the whole family, let's say you've got 10 people in your family, you can send me 10 names. I'll try and figure out a price for this. But then I can just put all of it into the report. So rather than just saying, well, Bob and Lisa had this, I can just be like, well, we found 5 entities attached to the whole family. These were the 5 entities, they're all cleared. So then we may actually do group clearing reports, because that actually may be easier than doing it one by one. Because this morning I had a family of 7 to clear, and I only managed to get through 2 of them because we were doing them individually. So actually, I think that might be a good plan, to offer something. I'll figure out with Christopher the best price for that. So that way, like for example, you guys have a huge family, I can just clear them all at once. It does. If you don't really give a shit about who, which person had what, and you just want it all clear, then that actually would be a really good idea, because that will save me some time. Doing families individually is part of what's taking me so long to get through clearings. Right now, it's about a 4 to 6 week wait. So if you guys are looking for like a quicker clearing, make sure you remember that Jono still has an open schedule. Jono's not too busy. He is going to be busy with the event this weekend. But I do believe that, there's quite a few new mediums that are going to be joining us. And I'm just very excited to see what's going to happen with these new mediums, because I'm looking to do more of this work. We only get about an hour a day per medium because it takes a lot out of them. So that's why the more mediums we have to work with, the more flexible our scheduling is and how quickly we can get through them. So I'm very excited to meet these new mediums that just finished class last week. I get to meet them today during the meeting at 2 p.m. So that'll be nice. I need one of them for my family, because it's hard to help them heal without being called judgmental when you try to bring awareness to them. Just be aware that most people, I think, are just starting to wake up. We got woken up early because we're here to wake up more people. We're here to get their attention and to help them process all of this. So we had our awakening a little early, but I think the mass consensus is starting to wake up like now. I'm having random strangers on the streets like that I'm connecting with on a deep level and talking about spiritual stuff. Whereas before, it just wasn't happening. People looked at me like I was batshit crazy. And now I tell people like, oh, I do spirit releasement. And they're like, what? What's that? And I tell them what I do. And they're like, oh, can I give you some names? Like most people looked at me before like, are you crazy? Me talking about just hypnosis. People wouldn't even want to hear about what I do. And now I tell people I do hypnosis and spirit releasement, and they're like, what? They want to know all about it. So I do feel like we are yes, we are, Laura, we are the FEMA of the ascension process. We're the first responders, as they say. Well, I don't know. If Dolores was a first responder, then maybe we're like the second responders, but still. Oh, that would be much better. It costs quite a lot with the exchange rate, too. I'd be interested in that. Perfect. Yes, we will do that. I'll ask Christopher to change that for me, and we'll do a mass family, one report per family type of thing where, like I said, the reason that it takes so long is doing it individually. And the ultimate goal is to not have to do these individually, is to just clear a whole family in one go. Because if you remember what Chen said, Chen wants to do group clearings. He wants to do mass clearings. We could clear an entire auditorium or a school in one go. So That's the exciting thing, is the fact that we don't have to do this one by one by one. Because, man, can you imagine clearing 8 billion people? How long that would take? Uh, I had some kind of crazy download happen last week. My whole body was shaking. I thought it was an earthquake because I live in California, but none of my dogs woke up and nothing else was shaking. And then I felt waves of energy go through me like jelly. It was so bizarre. Interesting, Catherine. I had my whole body shake like that once during a Kundalini rising. That was crazy. That, I think I told you guys about that when I had my I made a grid out of selenite and moldavite. I was like, let's see what you can do. And then a few minutes later, my whole body started vibrating. And then I was like, well, this is weird. And then the next thing you know, my ass literally felt like it was burning. Like there was fire going up my spine. And I was like, what is happening? I feel that a lot of the energetic changes that are happening to us right now are doing some kind of a cleansing on our bodies energetically. I'm not sure whether or not it's an activation or a healing or maybe even both, because healings can lead to activations. But I'm pretty sure that was a really intense download that you got. Like you said, you knew intuitively that's what it was. I was sleeping and then it woke me up, and then I got up and asked my pendulum all sorts of questions, and it asked if I was a download, and I got an adamant yes. Well, the fact that you were sleeping and it woke you up, I can understand why that would be a little disconcerting at first, especially considering how many entities will leave you vibrating in the middle of the night. So I'm glad to hear that it was actually a download. That's wonderful. I would write down I would do maybe some automatic writing today and just see if you have any of that, because that was an intense amount of energy that you had channeled into your body. So perhaps try and ground a little bit to help release some of it that might be up. But then also I would try and tune in and just see what those downloads were. Maybe do some automatic writing or do a guided meditation or something like that to try and see what more downloads you're going to get. Because what happens with a massive download, especially when it's that big that it affects you energetically, like you can have your whole body go into a reaction, I feel that there's still more to unpack in a way, because I know that you don't get it all in one thought, because it'd be way too much for you to process. So over the next few days, you start getting little snippets that you're basically unpacking from your download, and you're like, oh, aha. It gives you like a whole bunch of little aha moments. So make sure you write those down, because when you write, you're channeling. So a lot of times we forget. So that's one of the things that I've been doing recently that the soul guides told me I need to do, is to keep a notebook in my purse. I have a small notebook that my friend Gail gave me, and I'm keeping that in my purse now. So whenever I get an intuitive thought or download, that I write it down, because keep in mind that when you're channeling, you're not going to remember. A lot of these downloads, it comes in and it's gone. As fast as a dream would be disappearing in the morning, that's how quickly some of your downloads can come and go. So the second you get something that makes you go, aha, write it down so you don't lose it, okay? I felt like I was going through a download with a detox over the weekend. Feels like a lot of people going through on lately. Yes, Courtney, exactly. Whenever you get remove blockages with detoxing, you get a whole bunch more downloads coming in. It's like you're defragging your brain, and now you have more room for downloads to come in. You know what I mean? You're clearing out all the shit that's in the way and giving more space for you to put more knowledge that are as a higher frequency. It's also really important to be careful what you consume too, because the more time you watch TV and other stuff, you're also absorbing knowledge and information from that too. So, Michelle, clearing your cache. Yes, exactly. You're going to clear your mental cache. Clear those cookies. You can also do a quick recording on your phone if you get a download. Great idea, Jody. I actually have like a voice note one. So if I'm driving or something, I just click 2 buttons and I'm able to record a voice note for myself, and like a mental note. So yeah, do that too. That's a great idea. I want to microdose, Michelle says. Good. That's also helping to dial up people's abilities too. Microdosing is, according to Paul Stamets, is more effective than having large doses every few months or so, because apparently it helps to rewire the brain at a slower, more methodical rate versus just having big bursts of energy coming through. So I like both, really. uh, I prefer to do both. You have the microdose and then you have the boosty boosts every once in a while, you know? Just making sure I didn't miss a whole bunch of comments, because I'm sure I did. Anybody else have anything crazy they want to talk about over the weekend? I'll look while you guys are typing that up. I'm going to look at Daniela's message, because Daniela left me something. Hi, Daniela. Love you. Do, do, do. Wednesday and Thursday in Astara, we have the free live stream with Kim Beekman, Shamanic Healing Journeys with the Violet Flame. Wonderful. That'll be at 12:15 on Wednesday. And then on Thursday at 9:30, there's going to be the Alchemy Self-Care Practice, Raise and Protect Your Vibe. Wonderful. And then Tracy Trumbull will also be doing a live demo, a soul reveal reading. How exciting. That'll be 10 a.m. podcast. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you, Daniela. I'm guessing that's Thursday, yeah? Awesome. Just reading through so I don't miss anything. Ray says, half a gram is still a lot for a microdose. It's supposed to be 0.1 for the record. Hi, Anna. Anna says, are you going to the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival in London? Yes, I am. I have a flight at 10 p.m. tonight for that. I land in London at 10:30 tomorrow morning. So if you guys are interested in meeting up in London with some of us, Andy and Jono are also going to be there. So is Katie and a few others. So yeah, if you want to hang out with the SRT crew, you have to come and hang out with us. Hi, Chantal. I'm home from Denver as of 4 a.m. yesterday morning. I am back only for a few hours, though, because I'm leaving again to go to London tonight. You're going to be there, Anna. Wonderful. Perfect. You should private message me and send me your number, and I'll text you. We can hang out. You can hang out with Jono and Andy as well. They're going to be at the event. Hi, Brittany. I've missed you too, love. Nice to see you. I text myself when I have an intuitive hit at 53. I realize that's what's been happening all my life. Finally, acceptance. That's wonderful, Maria. I really do feel like these shifting frequencies. I don't know if it's the solar stuff that's going on or if there's more underlining frequency changes that are happening, but we have definitely noticed a mass awakening, huge shifts in frequency right now. So many people are actually becoming very advanced recently. Is there anything I could look up, help me learn and understand Kundalini a little bit more? Sorry if I spelled that wrong. Kundalini is, there's so many resources about it. I am still a beginner myself. Daniela is the person to talk about Kundalini with, aren't you, Daniela? The only thing I really know about Kundalini is do not mix moldavite and selenite and sit inside a crystal grid, because you end up feeling like your spine is melting. I literally ran to my shower and jumped in with my clothes on because I was so freaked out. I thought I had sat on something and literally lit a fire under my ass. But no, that was just a Kundalini rising that I didn't even know what it was. Tara Franklin teaches this in Astara. Wonderful, Daniela. Thank you for pointing that out. Tara Franklin is incredible. It does not surprise me that she knows all about it. Laura says, I always thought it was anxiety and panic attacks for me, but it was Kundalini energy. Well, yeah, because of how intense it is. And every time it hits another chakra, you just feel like this burst and you don't know how to explain it. It felt like when it hit my third eye, it felt like a massive pop. It's the best way I could describe it. It just went. But when it hit my throat, it felt like my esophagus was melting. It was not a pleasurable experience at all. It's really spooked me because I didn't know what it was. I was just trying to see what my crystals could do. I'm like, show me what you got. And they're like, oh, we're just going to burn your ass all the way up. ah. This was when Moldavite was really cheap, by the way. I used to have quite an expensive collection. Moldavite is nowhere near as cheap as it used to be. I got a piece of Moldavite that was like $100 back in the day. Nowadays, that'd be like $600. So, man, I'm so kicking myself for not holding on to that Moldavite. I used to just give it away to people. because it spooked me. I didn't know that that was actually going to have that much of a reaction. So it's kind of funny how certain crystals can really amplify your Kundalini rising. Her fusion yoga is Kundalini based with clear instructions. Wonderful. How exciting. Kara April says, Tara has taught me Kundalini and it's been life-changing. Well, there you go. Perfect. This is one of the best things about our community is that if I don't know how to do it, I will know somebody that does. There's always somebody that's an expert around here. Ooh, Ariana says, my dad sells Moldavite wholesale as a jeweler. Reach out if you want me to connect you. Be careful now, Ariana. You're going to get 50 messages from people going, hey, I want a piece. Moldavite is amazing, but like I said, for some people, it can be a little intense. You'll know when you put it on whether or not you're ready for Moldavite. If you put it on and you start feeling anxiety or nausea, you're not ready for it just yet. So I would just take it off and put it somewhere and use something else that's slightly lower in vibration, like selenite. I think selenite is one of the highest vibrational crystals on earth, which is why we use it for cutting so much. And why we use it for, I'd say cutting cords and stuff. But this is why we also charge it. Selenite is used for charging crystals. So if there's something that you need to charge, you put your selenite underneath it, you put your crystal inside, and then it will charge for you. So it's basically the same as like having your crystals out in the sun, which is really good. But there's a lot of other crystals like quartz, for example, that is very high vibration. Like Herkimer diamonds are another wonderful thing. This is why they also put Moldavite with Herkimer diamonds, is because of how high frequency they are, and they end up boosting each other. Because when you have something that's of a high frequency and you put something else that's high frequency with it, they both go higher in frequency. It's like they oscillate each other higher and higher and higher. Just like putting two people who are miserable in the same space, they both go lower and lower and lower. It's the same thing. So this is one of the reasons why our retreats are so much fun, because there's other people who match you in frequency. And so you kind of vibe off of each other. And then when you're leaving, you're like totally buzzing. By the time you leave, you're like, you feel like you're way up here when you're normally down here. And that's why. I'm actually planning to go mining for some Herkimer diamonds. If somebody wants to meet me, I told Aiden I would take him. He wants to go mining for crystals. So do you guys know any cool places to mine for your own crystals? Because that would be really cool. I know of Herkimer, New York, that I may take him to this summer. So if you guys, maybe we'll make a plan if you guys want to meet me up there at the Herkimer place and go Herkimer mining. So I'll plan. Oh, I know you want to, Kara. I'll make sure I hit you up. So we can make a plan and see if the whole group of us would like to go up and do some Herkimer mining together. That would be a lot of fun. I've been dying to go crystal digging. In fact, like the Carolinas, I've got a friend down there who says that she pulls amethysts out of her yard every time she gardens. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? She's like, yeah, I've never wanted to garden so much in my life. She's like, every time I go out, she finds little amethysts and other quartzes in her yard. And I'm like, man, I would garden 10 times more if I had crystals like amethysts in my backyard just to dig up while I'm working in the garden. How cool is that? So yeah, we'll make a plan, because there's a whole bunch of them. A whole bunch of really cool places where we can find. You can find labradorite? I didn't know that. What? We have labradorite here in the States? I thought that was like Scandinavian thing. No? If we have Larimar and stuff, I'm not Larimar, a labradorite. That's one of my favorites. I would love to go to a labradorite mine. Arkansas is also big for that. Yes, I've heard that. Very cool. We'll have to make a plan. Aiden's the one that set it into motion. Aiden's like, I need crystals. I want to go mine my own crystals. I'm like, yes, let's do it. Labradorite is Canadian. You learn something new every day. I did not know that. Very cool. Jean's like, where? I'm with you, Jean. I want some labbies too. If you're not ready for moldavite, get a malachite. That's a really good one, Ray. Malachite is amazing. It's very powerful for the heart as well. It's very high vibration, good for attracting money and abundance as well. But I really do feel that, yeah, moldavite is good, but I feel for healing, malachite's even better. Moldavite's more for consciousness expansion. I do believe it can heal because, I mean, it is a heart chakra crystal, considering it's green. But when you're actually looking for healing, I feel malachite's even better. Absolutely. Such an underrated crystal. If you can find some malachite and azurite too together, it is a winning combination. I think Herkimer diamonds distribute the moldavite energy to all chakras evenly. I've never heard that, Gary, but that resonates. I totally believe that. Because if you think about clear quartzes and how powerful they work on all chakras. And so I actually have a couple pieces that are all the way across my room. Otherwise, I'd get it. I have a piece that's got Herkimer and moldavite on it. So, and I'm pretty sure one of them also has iron from a meteorite too. Yeah, I have one pendant that I probably should bring with me to London, actually. I haven't used it in a while. But it's got moldavite, Herkimer diamond, and meteorite on it, which is really cool. Malachite, it's hard to get. Most of it is fake and dyed. Yes, it is. Most of it is clay that's been dyed. So be very careful about buying malachite. In fact, polished malachite, I feel, isn't even the best one. It's the raw malachite that's the best. I hear it's best to dig after a heavy rain. Good to know. So we're going to get muddy. Fantastic. I don't care how muddy I get. If I'm going home with crystals, I will look like a mud monster and be completely happy with it. I would not care. As long as I get to wash my crystals afterward, I will be happy. She'll be in Herkimer in August. Okay. All right. Let's make a plan. August sounds good. It's going to be hot, but that's fine. Cool. We've got, you guys, we're going to have to make a plan for this because I'm serious. We could totally even do a couple different crystal mining operations over this summer. I am so down. I wonder where that place is in Arkansas because I would like to go down to Arkansas, actually. It was the person that was going to sell the moldavite. That was Ariana's father that distributes it. Ariana, darling, is there a way to best contact you if we want some moldavite? Has your dad got a link that we could share? Because, yeah, we always want moldavite. We can never have enough moldavite. I'm really kicking myself for giving away as much moldavite as I did because, man, when I first had my awakening 12 years ago, it was so cheap. It was crazy cheap. And now everybody wants it. It must have at least, I mean, it's gone up exponentially in the last 12 years, unfortunately. Like I said, I got a piece that was that big for $100. Right now, that would be like $1,000. It's fucking crazy. But they are rare. There's only limited pieces that are out there. Did you guys know there's a moldavite museum in the Czech Republic? It's on my bucket list. It's definitely in my top 10 of things I need to do. It's a piece of another planet if you think about it. Like, I just love meteorites. I'm obsessed with meteorites. I still got a whole bunch of them. Thanks, David. Love you. I'm collecting meteorites. TikTok trend made moldavite so popular and expensive. Yep. And fake. There's so much moldavite out there that's fake right now. Because it's a tektite, it looks like glass, you know. It's easy to trick people into buying it if it's made out of all kinds of glass and stuff. So make sure that you're getting a certificate of authenticity with your moldavite. It'll probably cost you a little bit more, but It's much better than actually going and buying a fake piece of moldavite and wearing that around, thinking it's going to change your frequency. You found a prophecy stone. I don't even know what that is, David, but it sounds interesting. One of the things I've been looking for, hag stones. You guys ever see hag stones? Those are really cool. That's when you find a stone that has a natural hole bored into the center of it. Those are really good luck, too. If you can find a hag stone, go on like river, what do you call it? River rocks and that kind of thing, and at the beach. You got hag stones yesterday at the beach, and here we are talking about it, Michelle. How cool is that? Yeah, hag stones are really neat, you guys. If you see them, you should you should get one. You can get them online too, but it's even more powerful if you can actually find them. But yeah, they're just stones with like a hole that's naturally in the middle of them. All kinds of cool stuff. I know someone who just found a bunch. Sweet. Oh, Andy just shared a link to where he got his moldavite. There you go. You found a hagstone in a fossil shell. What? That's so cool. So sometime when you are meditating, make a crystal grid out of those hagstones and see what happens. They call them hagstones, but I don't really like the name hagstone. It's really just it's a very grounding stone that it causes a toroidal field to form around it because it's got the hole in it. So it's a very powerful healing grounding stone, just for the record. So yeah, if you make a grid out of hagstones, you're basically creating like mini toroidal fields all around you, which is really neat. I found some weird ones in South Africa, some big ones that looked like donuts, which were the weirdest things too. Like a stone, literally with a hole, perfect center of it. And it was very, very weird. All kinds of hagstones. So I feel like they had an ancient purpose as well that we have kind of lost the meaning of. Because considering how many there were and how big they were, it makes you wonder if they were actually made that way. Because it just didn't look right. Viewing stones for giants. You never know. We have such weird history on this planet. Anything is possible. I have some of those hagstones. Interesting. Didn't even know. Thanks. It's a pleasure, Maria. Yeah, just make a grid with it sometime and see how it goes. Write down anything that happens. Because like I said, they are very powerful for grounding. And when you're well grounded, then ooh, here we go. Danielle says we're hosting. Actually, I'm gonna pin this. There we go. We're hosting a retreat in Costa Rica in January 2025 with Tracy Trimble. Space is limited, so check it out if you want to come with us. So there we go. Daniela and Tracy running a retreat. How exciting. Cool. Well, I have been rambling on for almost 90 minutes now. Does anybody have anything else they want to know before I run off? Before I go and finish my packing and mow my lawn? Oh, very nice. Boquilas. I didn't even think about that. Incorporating that into our retreat would be so cool. Crystal digging. Qigong on the beach and self-love curriculum. So exciting. Dolores Cannon's book, Convoluted Universe, has great information on the history of the planet. Yes, it does. Convoluted Universe is a series of 5 books, and they are phenomenal. So if you guys haven't read Convoluted Universe yet, make sure you do. They're my favorite of all of Dolores's books. Shelly says, my man microdosed on DMT and he had extraction memories flicker out of him like a pack of cards, all bad memories he didn't need to hang on to. They told him he was a changed, happier person. Have you experienced this? Well, when we do clearings, for example, we don't just check for entities because entities are not the biggest problem in many cases. Entities are opportunists that are feeding off of people, yes, but we've noticed actually that the disassociated subpersonalities, the thought forms, and the things that people create for themselves end up being more difficult to fix. For example, we had a very emotional teenager that needed clearing not too long ago. And the parents were like, well, this hasn't changed anything. And it's like, well, he had like 7 thought forms on him. That's like 7 imaginary bullies that are following him around, constantly belittling him. I mean, if you have one entity, like let's say you have, I don't know, a level 2 on you, a demon on you, right? They're going to feed off of your emotional distress, and they're going to sap your energy. But I really do feel that the most problems are actually going to come from those thought forms, that group, because it's like you have a group of bullies that you've manifested for yourself that gang up on you constantly. And so we have noticed that many of the harder to help issues are related to their own thought forms. Because if you think about it, people bring them back all the time. They do all the time, where we will clear them and they will remove those thought forms and we'll put in a positive thought form. And then 2 weeks later, I'll get a message from this person going, I feel like something's really wrong here. I think the entity's back. And then I check, and sure enough, there's no entity. It's just the thought forms. They brought back their own thought forms. So thought forms manifest into demons, Dee said. Well, if you think about it, demons are thought forms. This is the confusing part. Demons are essentially like artificial intelligence that we create through belief, through negative thoughts, intention, energy, just bad juju that we collect among ourselves. This will create demons, yeah. But what's the difference between a thought form and a demon? There isn't really one. A thought form is one that you create for yourself. It's like an inner demon, you know? But if we call them inner demons, then it tends to make it sound more like it's an entity, whereas they're both kind of the same thing. It's just one is manifested by the collective and others are manifested by the self. So I do feel that they are a tier maybe above, because of the fact that they can be transformed to other people. They can affect other people that way when they start being more demonic. But I feel that it's a fine line between the difference of them, you know, like they both have very similar characteristics and are manifested the same way. So yeah, it's pretty accurate actually, Dee. It's wonderful to see you, Jordan. Love you. You're reading Horns of the Goddess. That is a phenomenal book. Yes, if you guys haven't read Horns of the Goddess yet, it's about Druidry back in the day, and how many people went through a very hard time being druids, and very powerful book. I read that on my way to Iona last year. So any other questions? Oh yeah, so to answer Shelley's question about the thought form, about the happiness, I think that's probably what happened, is that the microdose helped him heal those thought forms. Or reintegrate a disassociated subpersonality, because that's another thing. We have fragmentations of ourselves that end up affecting us. So there's a lot. It's not just entities that affect people. In fact, most of the time, it's the lack of healing that causes us to have attachments that we create for ourselves. So it's not easy to clear all of these things, especially if you're doing it on your own. So that's why with SRT, it's nice that we can just go through bang, 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 and go down the list and see all of those different things that need to be reintegrated. Because like we have like maybe 20 different questions that we ask the higher self. Only 2 of them are related to entities. All the rest of it is in relation to other things that can affect, because trauma is a huge factor in all of this. Dee says, what is SRT? Spirit releasement therapy. This is what I've been trained in. We work with soul guides to remove attachments and to reintegrate disassociated parts of the subconscious. So it's probably one of the deepest ways of clearing out all the mental clutter and getting rid of all the... It's kind of like having a monkey on your back. You know, that's the best analogy I can think of. It's just you have this thing that's constantly riding you and keeping you down. And yeah, it's not easy. Your former British accent comes through at times. I did spend 8 years in the UK. And then I spent 7 years in South Africa, where they also have a funny accent. So my accent changes all the time. I don't even notice. So sorry. One of my soul guides is also British, so I'm sure that doesn't help. Dee says, how can I find out more? Sorry, I'm new to this page. Well, this is what I'm here for, Dee. I'm happy to answer these questions. I'll share the link for you. This is the link to my academy I should say the academy we went to, spiritreleaseacademy.com. If you go to Dr. Terrence Palmer on YouTube, you can see my mentor. Let's see, where is he? I'll get the link for you. Dr. Terrence Palmer is my mentor. He originally taught this technique. He's got tons of videos that explain it on YouTube. There's his YouTube. And if you would like to book a clearing with me, the wait is between 4 and 6 weeks right now, but I am catching up quite quickly. In fact, I'm going to be working with a bunch of mediums next week. And we have new mediums in training right now, which is really exciting too. I'll have more people to work with soon. Yay! So yeah, we'll be able to do a lot more energetic work, and it'll be less of a wait time. If you want to book a clearing, you can go to my website, astrallara.com, and book a clearing and checking it out. That's wonderful. So yeah, there's all kinds of information about these things, and I love that Ray just said people get stuck in the Eight of Swords. Stop being a victim of your own thoughts. See, one of the biggest things you can do is to recognize what thoughts are yours and which thoughts are other people's. Because remember, about half of your thoughts are not you. You're picking them up from other people, from your environment, from God, even the airwaves and radio waves you're picking up. You could be downloading stuff from TV waves. You have no idea where some of these things get up. Because we have an antenna in our brain that picks up all kinds of stuff. We don't even know what we're picking up. And I'm noticing this with my mediumship abilities going, higher and higher every day, that there's certain things I'm noticing that I should have noticed sooner. And I'm like, wait, that's okay. Now I understand what that is, because most of our thoughts, we don't even really know where they're coming from and how to process them. So it does help quite a bit when you start learning that telepathy is real and that a lot of your thoughts do not come from you, because it helps you to identify those invasive thoughts and how to set boundaries with them. Because this is what a lot of people don't understand, especially people who are dealing with mental health issues like bipolar or schizophrenia. They're the ones the most that pick up other people's thoughts, and they beat themselves up constantly thinking, why did I think that horrible thought? That wasn't you, Toots. That was somebody else that's around you. So yeah, it's quite a big topic that we can talk about. If you go and look at my my Facebook page, Astral Exploration with Lara Star, there's a bunch of podcasts from the past that are pinned. So you guys can review some of these discussions about SRT. What do you think of Carl Jung's work? Shadow work is probably one of the most important things that all of us could be doing right now. 100%. I think that he was ahead of his time, and that if most psychiatrists were to study Carl Jung, then our idea of psychiatry would vastly change. So I feel that he's probably one of the most important people that studied the human mind. And he also knew about attachments, for the record. He knew about entities as well. So Carl Jung, he really was ahead of his time. So anyway, I love you guys. I've been on here for 90 minutes just rambling on. I will come on and say hi with Jono and Andy while I'm in London. I just don't know when that's going to happen. So if I do get a heads up, then I will let you guys know when it's going to happen. Otherwise, it'll just be a spontaneous little pop in and say hello. But I'll tell you guys all about the event in London. I'm really excited about it. We're going to teach people all kinds of cool stuff. We're going to de-haunt some places. It's going to be a hell of a time, I'm sure. So thank you all so much for joining me today. And if you have any questions, like I said, you can just tag me or something, and I'm happy to answer. And for those of you who are interested in, where is it? Daniela's retreat, please message me, because that would be really wonderful to start planning that retreat in Costa Rica. Yeah. And, oh yes, and the pro bonos. I just had the thought. Remember, if you have somebody that you really feel needs a clearing and you don't care about the report, feel free to message me with the names and we'll add them to the pro bono list. Because like I said, we are going to be doing these group clearings. We put everybody into a big bubble and clear everybody all at once. So it does not take, we could clear 30 to 50 people in 20 minutes that way. The only thing is we don't get individual reports. So it is nice to be able to do this for people because like I said, Chen has been wanting this for a long time to do mass clearings like this. So it'll be really exciting. And I'm sure that Chen will do a mass clearing at the event in London too, considering Andy's going to be talking 2 days of the 4 days that we were in London. Andy's going to be up on stage and giving Chen the floor, which will be really cool. Chen will get to speak to a live audience. So when that happens, I'll see if I can pop on and record it for you guys so you don't miss it. So yeah, I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was really wonderful to spend some time with you guys. And I should be back next Wednesday to resume things normally. So many thanks to Christopher and Daniela for holding down the fort. You guys are just, you are the wind in my sails. I love you both. Thank you for all your help. And many thanks to Gabby as well. Gabby has been holding down the fort for me with messages. Gabby, I could not do this without you. I love you so much. Gabby is my lifesaver. So yeah, I guess I will see you all when I can pop back on. So Danielle will be on tomorrow. And what is the meditation Zoom coming up with Siddhartha? Let's see. Daniela, do you have information on that, love? The next meditation Zoom coming up with Siddhartha? Because that would be very helpful. Thank you. Yes, there is one. Okay. Cool. I will share a link for you guys. How about that? I'll go and see if I can find that link, and then I'll share it on the page in about 5 minutes. So you guys can go and sign up for the, it's going to be on a star without a doubt, I think. The course is June 8th with Siddhartha. Perfect. Thank you, Daniela. And thank you to everybody that's joined me today. So wonderful to spend some time with you guys. I love you all so much. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you again very soon. Bye, guys. Take